and her home. Now take a look at this. Clothes and hangers thrown on the floor, bathroom counter, a complete disaster. This mess belongs to 20-year-old college student Courtney. Can you imagine these two living together? Well, they did it one time. They are mother and daughter. Courtney says her mom, Beverly, is such a neat freak and messed up in the mind that she kicked Courtney out of the house when she was 15. But Beverly says her daughter chose to leave. 5 years later, this mother and daughter are still at odds, and Courtney says the scars run very deep. A bitter custody battle, sexual abuse allegations, and, well, just a whole lot more. Of course, Mom Beverly is 100% convinced their rift is all because of a messy room. Take a look.
If you look around my home, you'll see that most things are in place and in order. I try to keep a neat, tidy house.
If I left a dirty dish in the sink, I would hear about it 6 months later. My mom likes things absolutely perfectly in their place. If it's perfect, I'm uncomfortable.
My closet's not organized. A chair has my bedspread on it.
Our last big fight happened when I was going to a movie premiere. I had baked cookies and left a mess in the kitchen.
Dishes that she used were still there from the morning. Both bedrooms, both bathrooms, completely wiped out.
I had my own bathroom and I had my own bedroom, so I didn't feel the need to put every single thing away.
I left her a note placing her on restriction. She was not allowed to use the TV or the computer.
There was a 2-page typed note telling me I was a slob, I was a pig.
When I came home next day, I found her watching TV with her feet up on my desk, eating cheese and crackers. And that's when the fight started. It was one of my worst moments ever in my life. I lost complete control.
My mother threw an empty Parmesan cheese container at me.
A few days later, her and her father announced that she was moving out. I got upset and I said, if you don't want to be here, just go, just get out. Courtney heard, get out, go away, don't come back.
The way she tells the story is we had one fight and I left to go to my dad's and never came home. And that's just not what happened. My mom kicked me out when I was 15 years old. Actually said the words, get out of my house, and slammed the door in my face.
Well, Courtney says her mom Beverly's behavior was abusive way before their fight over a Parmesan cheese container and cookies.
Whenever my mom saw me eating junk food or in tight clothes, she would tell me how fat I was, how I needed to get on a diet, nobody's ever gonna want me. It was a good one for her. I had no self-esteem. I look back at pictures of me now when I was a child and think, wow, I wasn't fat. If I didn't do very well on a test, she would tell me, you're never gonna amount to anything more than flipping burgers, you're not smart, nobody's gonna want you. In the 5 years I've lived with my dad, my mom has done countless crazy things. She actually sent some random guy I didn't know to take pictures of me at a high school football game. That was terrifying, by the way. She's sent people into my work, ask me questions about my personal life. I don't answer her text messages. Her number is blocked. I delete her emails before reading them. As of right now, I have no relationship with my mom.
Okay, how long has it been since you've seen each other?
Easter.
Easter.
Yes, sir.
So months.
Yes, sir.
All right. And how long since you've really spent any quality time together?
Years.
Years. Okay, so let's talk about this one big fight that you say there was just one fight.
Yes, sir.
At 15, when she was 15.
Yes, sir.
And as a result of this one fight, this argument, that she abandoned you and went with her dad, and that was it. You've been cast aside, left all these years since then.
Yes, sir. She spent a week at her father's house and a week at my home. She came home to my home. The house had been completely cleaned. I came home from work that evening. The house, her dinner dishes, she was eating on the sofa at that time. 3 days later, the dishes were still on the sofa. The books were all over the counter. The house was a mess. On the third day when I came home from work, she was at a movie premiere. She made cookies for her friends, left everything out. The eggs had been left out, now spoiled. And the house was a mess. So I left her a note putting her on restriction, specifically telling her no TV, no computer, no phone.
Well, I have that letter.
Yes.
And some excerpts from it. You said, I have asked you nicely, begged, yelled, and cried over the way you treat our home and me with such disrespect. You may not have any TV. You will not be attending any parties this weekend. You will be giving me your phone when I return from work at 3:45 p.m. I will be disconnecting the line tomorrow on my lunch hour. This should give you plenty of time to say goodbye to your friends for the summer. Because you overslept is no reason to have left the kitchen a mess. You should have not made cookies if you didn't have time to clean your mess. You left the door to the garage open. The cat was in the garage when I opened the big door. She came running out and was almost run over. I had to chase her around the front yard. I apologize if I have once again stolen your happiness, but you are bringing it on yourself, Mom. Okay, that was the letter you got, right?
Yes.
How'd you feel about the letter?
Horrible. I spent the night on the bathroom floor because I was physically sick to my stomach.
Letter's a little dramatic, but I don't see it as being a particularly egregious writing. And I have to say, that's about the last reasonable thing that I think you did. Beverly partially blames her ex-husband for their problems, but Christopher says Beverly is the one who started all the problems years ago with a false accusation.
My mom falsely accused my dad of having a sexual relationship with me 2 days before Christmas.
During the custody battle, we went to Beverly's house. While Courtney was moving her things out, she left her phone on a counter.
I looked through my 15-year-old's phone. I saw pornographic text messages. It looked like the sender said it was Dad. I had to investigate where this was coming from.
If she had just asked me about the text messages, I would have told her the truth. My friends sent them to me when I was using my dad's phone the summer before. I didn't want him to know I was telling dirty jokes. I sent them to myself so that he wouldn't see them, and it looked like they came from my dad to me.
I went into shock, and I didn't know what to do.
She went straight to the courts and tried to have my dad thrown in jail for being a pedophile.
The next thing I knew, we were in court trying to get the phone record subpoenaed.
When Children's Protective Services knocks on your door, you can't really say it's not a good time. They raked us across the coals. That's the hardest thing I've ever done. And to think my daughter had to go through the same things I went through. My daughter was asked questions she should never, ever have been asked.
We had an emergency court hearing, and they let me go home with my dad. It was clear to everyone that my dad had not had an inappropriate relationship with me. My mom drags it on to this day. She says that I'm his trophy girlfriend. It's completely inappropriate and completely not true.
I'm now on a list of people who have been accused of being a pedophile, even though there was no basis whatsoever.
Okay, Christopher, thank you for joining us. I want to get this out right straight. Did your father send you these off-color messages?
No way.
He did not send those?
No.
But they were on his phone to your phone?
Yes.
Okay, so, but yet he didn't send them to you. You need to explain that so everybody understands that.
When my mom kicked me out, she kept my phone. And my dad never used his phone, so for that summer, he let me use his. And when I got my phone back, I forwarded those messages to my phone because I didn't want them to be on his phone, and I didn't want him to see that my friends were sending me dirty jokes.
Has she been verbally abusive to you?
Well, I've never called her a bitch. I've never said anything to her like that.
You never called her a pig?
I've called her a pig, yes.
And later, did you steal an ambulance?
No, sir.
Did she steal an ambulance?
That is the legend in the fire department.
I went down to the beach and I just sat there.
In the ambulance?
Yes, sir. When I first met my husband, Chris, he seemed like a great guy. As time went on, I noticed that he would pick me apart on some of the smallest details. I always felt like an employee, not so much a wife. Our marriage became a competition. One summer, I came home with a puppy dog, and Christopher started throwing a fit, yelling he didn't get to pick the color, didn't get to have anything to do with it. He picked up his beer and threw it into the street and was yelling obscenities. And it was at that point that I packed up my daughter, and I filed for divorce shortly after that.
Courtney says her mother Beverly's unpredictable behavior during the custody battle with her father Christopher was so out of control that it ended up pushing them further apart.
During the court custody battle, the judge issued a no contact order between me and my mom. She couldn't contact me, I couldn't contact her. She violated that order a few dozen times. Blatantly, she didn't care who saw. She would show up at my high school football games, send me text messages, leave me voicemails telling me I was a spoiled little brat.
Did you throw her out?
No, sir, I did not throw her out.
Did she kick you out or did she not?
She kicked me out.
And why do you say that when she says, no, you left?
My dad wouldn't have let me leave. He wanted us to have a better relationship. He was there.
Courtney, did you not come to my house and say, I'm taking my electronics? You went up to your room and you packed your electronics up. And you and your father said, your father's famous quote was, you guys need to take a little break from each other. And that's what he kept saying. You need to take a break. You need to take a break. And you guys moved out. You packed your stuff and you moved out. You came on Christmas Eve and took what you wanted and left everything else on the floor. You took everything with you.
A week after I was kicked out, I did come back and take some things. I got the rest of it on Christmas Eve, but that day, we did not intend for me to leave the house forever.
When I suggested to take a break, I was trying to keep the relationship together, not to break it apart. The idea was a break was for them to take a breath, step back, and maybe get a fresh start.
Were you verbally abusive with your daughter?
I don't think I was. I've never called my daughter a fat bitch or whatever that she said that was. I've never said anything to her like that.
You've never called her a pig?
No. I've called her a pig, yes. I've told her room looks like a pigsty and it looks like a pig lives in here, yes.
But you don't think you've been verbally abusive to her?
That's occasionally, maybe, yes. Yeah.
Well, 30 seconds ago you said no.
Well, I've never called her a bitch. I mean, I've never used profanity to my daughter, calling her anything like that.
Okay. Has she been verbally abusive to you?
Yes. Yes, sir, she has.
What has she said to you that you consider verbally abusive?
You're never going to amount to anything more than flipping burgers.
Never said that.
Yes, you did. You need to lose weight. You're so fat. How could my daughter be this fat? You wish you looked like me.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No one's ever going to want you. You wonder why you have no friends. She once told me that I had failed a grade in school and that I was going to have to go to summer school. I panicked. I called my school and made an appointment to see the principal the next day. Turns out I didn't fail the grade. I didn't have to go to summer school. She just lied and told me I had. And looking back now, I see that I wasn't the fat little pig I was told I was. And that's definitely very painful to me.
Dr. Phil, every single one of those statements she's saying is an absolutely false statement. I've never told my daughter she was not going to amount to anything. I've never told her she'd be anything other than flipping burgers. I've never called my daughter fat, ever in my life, as God is my witness.
Have you been to therapy with her?
We had one joint counseling session. We were court ordered to go to therapy. She was seeing the counselor on her time. I was seeing the counselor on my time. The one session that we were supposed to meet together just happened to be the same February 4th that we were in court over the sexual text messages.
Yeah, well, I've got questions about that. And coming up, I want to talk about a fight over a flute that ended up being used against Beverly in court. We'll be right back. You throw a check on the floor and say, have a nice life. This is Hollywood. This is where you do that. You don't do that. And later,
I put on my bathrobe and I drove over to his house and I'm like, give me my flute.
she's banging on your door
Let her in.
Threatening to kick my bedroom door down.
and yelling what?
I want my flute. Give me the flute.
During the custody battle, the judge ordered that my mom and I go to reunification therapy.
From the very beginning, the counselor and I did not get along. She labeled me a child abuser because I yelled at my daughter.
We had one joint session. My mother broke down emotionally, got on her hands and knees, and started begging me to tell her what she did that was so evil. The therapist tried to intervene. My mother got up, threw the check in the therapist's face, told me to have a nice life, and stormed off. That was our reunification therapy.
My question for you is, you're 5 years into this, right? Mm-hmm. If you're so smart, how come you're in such a bad situation?
Because I made some emotional, irrational moves during this because I was an emotional wreck because my daughter doesn't want me. She's leaving my life.
No. Wait a minute. You just made a conclusion. You just said, my daughter doesn't want me. That's part of your strategy. You're the victim. You're the victim. You're always the victim. She doesn't want me. She's abandoned me. He's alienated her from me. The therapist doesn't like me. The judge is wrong. This one is this. It's all, everybody's lined up against you.
That's how I felt.
If you get up in the morning and go to the grocery store and you get in an argument with somebody and they're just like, yeah, and you go, wow, boy, yeah, he was really a jerk. And then you go over to church and you're there for a while and some lady over there, boy, she was really a jerk. Pretty soon you got to understand you're the jerk. You got to ask yourself, it's like, wow.
I understand what you're saying.
Let's look at this letter. After several efforts to reunify mother and child, this clinician indefinitely suspended reunification services due to mother's behavior in a conjoint session. That means with daughter. During the session, mother refused feedback, ignored daughter's tears, yelled at the minor child, threw magazines in her direction, threw a check on the floor, and said, have a nice life, as she walked out. She continues to project blame onto the father and the minor child. Jerk, jerk, for the problems that led to the current estrangement. Sometimes she continues to refer to Courtney as a liar and spoiled. Additionally, it's my observation that mother's allegations of sexual abuse against the father and her decision to reference these allegations on Facebook has further damaged the relationship. It is the opinion of this clinician that reunification therapy would be emotionally detrimental to the minor child at this point. This is a therapist whose job it is to bring mother and daughter back together.
Yes, sir. And as I said, that was the morning.
And she says, I quit. She said, I quit.
It was a very horrible session, sir. She sat there as Courtney said, I was at her knees begging for forgiveness. And I'm begging, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you, Courtney. I'm sorry, I yelled at you. And my daughter was recoiling in the chair.
You throw a check on the floor and say, have a nice life? This is Hollywood. This is where you do that. You don't do that.
Comes a point when you've been beat up enough that you just, or I'm done, I didn't want to fight anymore.
The other therapist, you threatened to sue them.
No, I did not. I said, you know, I'm Courtney's mother. She's underage. We still have joint physical and legal custody. Anytime she goes to see a doctor, I'm supposed to be informed as well. I'd like to know.
So you let that therapist know that she had run a red light?
Yeah, I did. Because it's my daughter. I'm supposed to know. I'm supposed to be filled in.
And nowhere in there did you say you've violated something here by not allowing me to know, not letting me know that you're seeing her?
I did say I violated, but that's not saying I'm going to sue you.
Did you threaten that therapist?
I did not threaten the therapist, sir.
So you're here to defend your conduct?
No, sir, I'm not.
Well, no.
No, I mean...
You're not here to defend your conduct.
I know I've done...
Because you sound like you're defending your conduct.
I wanted to know what was going on with my daughter.
So how much help did you get from that therapist that quit?
So none. I got plenty of help from my counselor.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I didn't meet you before then. Well, I'm not giving up. What would it take for Courtney to forgive her mother? And I'm still going to talk about this damn flute. We'll be right back. What was she saying?
I want my flute. Give me the flute. It's my grandfather's flute. I want the flute. I'm going to break the bad word door down.
Beverly's conflict resolution was difficult for me because her way was to just run away and leave and come back the next day and pretend it didn't happen. And that just didn't work for me. I wanted to talk things out, and that didn't work for her. When we were divorced, I think people who knew us well were not terribly surprised. People who didn't know us so well were absolutely shocked.
Beverly says she is desperate to have a relationship with her daughter again, but Courtney says Beverly needs to admit how outrageous her behavior has been, including sending a photographer to stalk her at a high school sports game, storming out of therapy, and allegedly stealing an ambulance. Did you steal an ambulance?
No, sir.
Did she steal an ambulance?
That is the legend in the fire department. I wasn't there.
Why do people say you stole an ambulance?
I took my ambulance down to the beach, and I sat there and tried to figure out life.
So you just borrowed the ambulance?
No, I was technically still on duty, so I pulled myself out. I went down to the beach and I just sat there.
In the ambulance?
Yes, sir.
Did you get in a fight over a flute?
Yes, sir, I did. I was sound asleep in my bed at 10:30 at night. Someone comes to my door, pounding on my door. There's some woman out there. And I'm like, can I help you? She goes, I have something for you. I'm like, what do you have? She goes, I've got papers for you. You've been served. My husband was filing for full custody.
Okay, so that upsets you.
Yes. So I put on my bathrobe and I drove over to his house and I'm like, what in the world are you doing? What are you doing here? Why are you doing this? And he's telling me I should have done this a long time ago. And he's going on, and I'm like, give me my flute. My flute was given to me by my grandfather when I was 15 years old.
She's at your door, right?
Oh, yeah, we heard the car come to a screeching halt.
And she's banging on your door.
I let her in. Rather than make a scene in the neighborhood or call 911, I let her in. I told Courtney, go get the recorder, turn on the recorder. She did. And Courtney went and hid inside her bathroom behind 2 locked doors because she's fearful of her mother.
Mm-hmm. And did she come to those doors?
Yes.
Banging on the doors?
Threatening to kick my bedroom door down.
Uh-huh. And yelling what? What was she saying?
I want my flute. Give me the flute. It's my grandfather's flute. I want the flute. I'm going to break the bad words door down. Dad's saying, no, you're not. She grabbed a stool, said, this is my stool. We had it when we were married. She threw the stool on the ground. It bounced up, took a chunk out of my dad's leg. She tried to take a picture off the wall saying that she took that. Then give me my flute. I want the flute. My dad got her to calm down enough so that she would go out to the kitchen. He came back, told me to give him the flute. I gave him the flute. She left.
Can I finish explaining about the flute, sir?
I think I'm pretty caught up on the flute. This is the flute. We've got the flute here.
This happened on the night before the first day of her sophomore year of high school.
She needs the flute for school.
Courtney would have had to march with an air flute.
Excuse me,
To
Mr. Bill,
humiliate
that's
her.
absolutely incorrect. She had a new flute. She had a brand new flute. So she would not be air fluting.
Beverly asked for my help to repair her relationship with Courtney, and I've got some very specific advice that I think she needs to hear, that I think everybody needs to hear when we come back. And trust me, I'm going to put some very specific verbs in my sentences. We'll be right back. What you're doing's not working.
Right. I agree.
And let's talk about what it is you're doing. I think you have a serious impulse control disorder. And you have a flair for the dramatic. And language is very powerful. You use language that is catastrophic. Like to Courtney, you said, just put a gun to my head and get it over with. You are the very life in my body. Without you, I have no life. I'm such a terrible mother to cause you to cut yourself and let you return week after week to the scene of the crime. The good news is that I will never be able to steal your happiness again. I will always love you more than you will ever know, even though you, the one person who I never thought would abandon me, did. I mean, my God, you're like a soap opera on repeat. This is how you talk to yourself. It's how you talk to yourself, and language is very powerful. And when you use that language, there's no other way to feel than just so put upon and so burdened. To Christopher, I've not said an angry word to her since our argument about her messes. Why don't you just take the gun and put it to the head and blow my brains out? So you're going to have stereo guns to your head because you want them both to blow your brains out. You're allowing her to lie. You're feeding her fire. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, sir. My emotions were completely out of control because my whole world had just been ripped apart.
No, your whole world hadn't been ripped apart because you and I are on the same world. And if it had been ripped apart, I would have fallen off the globe. It hasn't been ripped apart. Your world hasn't been ripped apart. You have been inconvenienced about things that matter. The most important thing in your life is that your daughter is healthy and happy.
That's this.
Okay? What you should thank God for every morning is that she is healthy, that she's beautiful and articulate and bright. Your daughter is sitting right here and she says, I want my mother in my life. If you will just calm down and get yourself under control and realize you don't have to be the victim all the time.
That's fine, sir. And I want
Let me tell you a problem. You started talking the split second I stopped. And what I know is that you had to be thinking of what you were going to say while I was talking, because you're not smart enough to be thinking that fast
No, sir,
to formulate your answer in the 10th of a second between when I stopped and you started, which means you weren't listening to me. You were thinking what you were going to say.
I was listening to you.
There you go.
No, sir. No, I'm listening to you.
Unless you really get some help, and unless you really recognize that you have to inspire rather than dictate a relationship with your daughter, she's not going to want to have a relationship with you. But you can have what you want. Let me tell you, if you will just do some things that I'm telling you here, this situation can be a great deal better in a very short period of time.
That's what I would like.
It really, really can. She is going to have to learn to trust you again, and it's going to be a day at a time. It's not going to be a success-only journey. But you need to recognize that she's an adult, and if you're going to have a relationship, it's going to be because she wants to. And we want to be around people that when we've been around them, we feel better about who we are. I promise you, I like to be around people that when I'm finished being around them, I feel better about myself. I don't like to be around people that when I finish being around them, I feel worse about myself. That's a pretty simple equation. And, you know, we all know people that when they come in the room, it feels like somebody left. And they just suck the energy out of the room.
Yes, sir. I do know people like that.
And we're around people that when they're around, we just go, oh my God. I'll bet you can be a lot of fun.
I can be. Yes, sir, I can be.
If they don't have to live with you or no, seriously.
Dr. Phil, I make big messes in my house. I make outrageous messes in my house. But when I'm done, I pick them up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, I know.
I don't care what you do with them. What I care is what you do with your daughter, because I want you to have what you want. This is a wonderful young lady here.
I know she is.
I want you to have a relationship with her, but to do that, you need some help to calm yourself down and recognize that this is her option and you need to earn it, and just as she does with you. And are you seeing a therapist now?
Currently, no.
Are you willing to?
Yes, sir.
I'm willing to arrange that for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick them.
Okay. That's fine.
We're going to take a little turn and meet a mother-daughter who actually get along great. The only thing they're battling is father time. Take a look.
I started feeling overwhelmed with the signs of aging about 7 years ago. When I look at my face in the mirror, I see the crow's feet. I wish I would have not laid in the sun so much because I've ruined my skin.
I do this a lot. So I'm noticing that I'm starting to gain lines in there. I want to make sure that I have that opportunity to stop it before I'm feeling like she does.
Every day I wash my face, my skin starts looking flaky and dull. I pile on moisturizer. I put it on pretty thick. The makeup is staying in the creases of my crow's feet, the 11 line. This is my 11 line. You see, you got 2 lines that go down each spot right here.
Do I have that?
Well, you will probably.
If my face is feeling a little dry, then I'll decide to put on moisturizer, but every now and then I'll tend to use an exfoliator maybe once a week. It's not that I don't care about what I put on my face, it's just my lack of knowledge on what's going to be best for my skin. I barely wear makeup. Mom tells me I'm going to have to wear it one day.
Guilty. I recently turned 50. It worries me now that the wrinkles are just going to get worse quicker.
So we decided to send beauty expert Jamie Krell to pay this pair a visit. Let's see what she had to say.
I understand that each of you have major concerns about anti-aging, specifically fine lines and wrinkles. Is that true?
That's correct.
I'm starting to notice wrinkles on my forehead. Ultimately, I want to make sure that these aren't going to be a concern.
There are really easy, simple things that you can do where your skin will really benefit from these ideas and tips I'm going to share with you today. So the 3 major categories are sun protection, diet, and skincare. In terms of sun exposure, do you sit out in the sun? Do you go to the tanning beds?
I worked at a tanning salon for a few years, and I would tan probably 3 to 4 times a week.
A week?
A week.
I'm going to try to block that from my mind, but that is awful. Sun exposure is the #1 cause of premature aging. Protect yourself when you are out in the sun. Sunscreen, hat, and sunglasses are always a must. Okay, now tell me about you, kiddo.
If I do go out in the sun, I do put on sunscreen, but I try to avoid it if at all possible.
That's why your skin looks so beautiful, and we want to keep it that way. So today I'm going to share with you even more tips and information to keep your skin looking and feeling its very best. So tell me a little bit about how your diet is.
Well, sometimes I take a vitamin, and then, I usually try to eat right.
A multivitamin is great, but Studies have shown that it's actually more beneficial to get those vitamins from the whole foods and fruits and vegetables themselves. So my first suggestion is to eat a diet that is high in antioxidants. Blueberries really pack some of the biggest punch when it comes to antioxidants. A great source of vitamin A comes from carrots or sweet potatoes. Vitamin C and E come from kale, dark grapes, strawberries. So these are things that you should be noshing on, and it can actually help reverse some of that damage that you see today. I try to encourage people to stick to the outer perimeter of the supermarket because that's where the fresh fruits and veggies and whole foods are. These are easy, effective ideas, and you'll nourish the cells in your body from within, and as a result, your skin will glow. Now let's talk about your skincare routine.
Well, typically I use bar soap. I notice that I have some dry, flaky, irritated skin.
Well, some soaps can strip essential moisture from the skin and really throw off your pH balance. So that's what could be causing the dryness and the irritation.
Something else that bothers me is the makeup settles into the lines in my forehead, the crow's feet around my face.
I definitely don't want to have that problem. I'm not great about wearing makeup now, but eventually that's something that I'm going to have to do.
For you, Jodine, I would recommend something that is brand new and just launched. It's from Boots No. 7. It's called their Restore and Renew Day and Night Serum. It's really easy to use every morning and every evening right after cleansing, and you will see that this targets and tackles all of your anti-aging concerns. It's going to put the moisture back into your skin, and this is clinically proven to actually deliver those anti-aging benefits specifically targeted towards mature skin. So I want you to take this, start using it immediately.
Thank you.
Okay, now for you, Jen, I want to give you one of my personal favorites. It's from Boots No. 7. It's called the Protect and Perfect Intense Advanced Serum. When this product launched over in the UK, it became the fastest selling anti-aging serum. They actually were selling one every 10 seconds. Wow. It's clinically proven to take care and reduce the appearance of those lines and wrinkles in just 4 weeks. So I want to give you this. Start using it right away. I want to let you ladies know you can go and get these right at Target, and they're less than $30.